What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 100. You heard that right. We finally made it. That's 10 times 10. That's 50 plus 50. That's 25 times 4. This week, I am joined by the Dominican Bakugo, Kenny Castro,
What up, everybody? How's it going?
the phantom producer himself, Tyler Hadley.
Hello. Where's my Phantom Thief mask? I have it right here. Whoosh.
There it is, rocking it one more time. And the Duarte's one himself, Anthony Duarte.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. Excited to be here. Excited to be with you guys. Thank you if you're watching or listening later on your favorite podcast service. Yeah, it's a big milestone getting to the big 100.
That's a 100 weeks of podcasting
100 weeks,
for everybody.
Yes,
For everybody who can't count.
it's 2 years because we've probably taken, 5-6 weeks off in that time.
Probably.
So it's a lot
Yeah.
to us to get there. We have been talking about things that we're going to mention towards the end of the show about where we're going as the future, as a YouTube channel, as a podcast, as a group. So we still have some of that to work out. The future. We're kind of seeing this as a season finale to our current podcast. So we might be off for the next 2-3 weeks, but we will be back and hopefully better than ever. So thanks for listening. If you're still with us, we'll be back, same feed. No worries. We're still going to be constantly communicating in our Discord. Feel free to join that. You can learn how to do that in the description below. It's very easy. Give us a like and a subscribe, all that stuff. All right. So how's everyone feeling out there? I know, Kenny, you just got your second shot. You're a little fatigued.
Yeah, I woke up destroyed, to be honest.
Ooh.
Yeah. Like completely, my upper body ached. I felt low in energy, just exhausted in general. And yeah, I kind of had to just be like, you know what, I need a rest. I need at least half the day, most of the day, whatever it is. I need to sleep, hydrate, do what I need to do. So I emailed my supervisor and just like, hey, sorry, but this is what it is. I'm having some side effects. It's nothing major, but and my temperature kind of rose. I could feel it. Like I'm already a warm person, and I tried asking the fiance, I tried asking my Dallas, like, hey, do I feel like hot? And she was like, yeah, you're always warm as hell.
You're always hot, babe.
Yep. So, but I could personally feel myself at a higher temperature. So
yeah, you know how you feel.
I definitely am one of those folks that feels like they run hot. I get called the heater all the time by Elena.
Ooh.
But, my temperature's always below 98 or something. Sometimes it's like 96.9 or like 97.2. Anybody else like that?
I don't really measure my temperature a lot.
That's me. I'm always below 98, but I run extremely warm or hot, as Medalla says. Like she's always cold, and she's like, "You need to warm me up." And I walk out in the middle of the winter, chanclas and shorts because I really don't feel it as much as other people. So
I've noticed that, and I hope they don't take offense, but a lot of Latina women get cold easily.
It's the lack of red meat.
Blankets.
The lack of red meat.
Low iron. I tell her I'm like, you're anemic. She's like, stop. And I'm like,
stop it.
I'm like, I'm being extremely honest with you. You're anemic. Go get some protein pills or something.
Yeah.
Some iron pills. I mean, like,
they cook you more steak, girl.
I heard a big thing on. There's this popular cooking website called Epicurious, I believe is how it's pronounced. I've probably gotten a recipe or two off of there. I saw in the New York Times this morning that they are removing all future red meat recipes in an effort to be pro-climate, like pro-planet, I think is where they phrase it. Not anti-beef, but pro-planet, because I don't know how it differs from other meats, but I have been hearing that it takes 738 gallons of water to make this burger and things of that nature. So any thoughts on that, y'all?
Yeah, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I guess I'm anti-planet.
I guess.
Send Captain Planet after me if you want. I'm all
You
set.
look like you're already in the Captain Planet get up with the cutoffs at the red. Isn't he wear that? And you just need like the silver.
For reducing meat intake, like being like, there's a lot of reaction. Did you see the bullshit that Fox News was promoting, that Biden, it just is like, no hot dogs on 4th of July, no hamburgers, all gonna go to the Green New Deal.
What?
No, I didn't see that.
That's ridiculous.
Biden starts taking away my hot dogs. That's what we should. That deserves an impeachment.
He could keep, if he wants to take away the bologna hot dogs, he could take them away. As long as I still get my all beef ones, that's fine.
Yeah, there was a lot of misinformation going around, and they had one of their more quote unquote moderate folks come out and say, turns out that was not true. Move on.
Jeez.
Of course.
I guess the real question is, though, if they start making meat out of stem cells and you can buy it for the same price as regular meat, would you switch?
I'd try it.
Whose stem cells, though?
Yeah.
Like they're making like real meat out of the stem cells of chickens or whatever, cows, whatever.
I was about to say, like, if they're using stem cells from fetuses, human fetuses, right?
Yeah, I was thinking
count me out.
No. This is like animals to make food.
Tyler, that was vague at first, bro. Like, I literally was about to start judging you. I thought, like, damn, Tyler's already looking forward to eating human fetuses and stem cells.
No.
Hey man, if you put it next to another Shakey's pizza, you make another Shakey's pizza. You'll have 2 Shakey's pizzas.
Well, I haven't heard about that, but if if there's only one animal that has to suffer for 1 million chicken sandwiches, that sounds amazing.
It'll happen at some point. Maybe not in our future, but
that sounds like space food. They're gonna just start giving us food and pills. Here's your
get that stuff. I used to get it in my Facebook feed a lot, like the all-in-one nutrition type of drinks. Like I think one of the brands was Huel.
Oh yeah, we've got some at the house. Huel.
Oh yeah,
it's not bad. It's a meal replacement, but you're only supposed to really replace one meal with it. And it's like a shake jug of it. It's all right, and it fills you up, but it's like, it's not as filling as an actual meal would be.
Is it just powder you just shake up with water?
Yep, you powder or milk. You just, I usually like doing it with milk. Take a couple little spoons I got there, put it in the little shake thing, stir it up nice and good, and you get your nice self a sloppy, protein.
Yeah, no. Everybody else can focus on their meal replacements. That frees up real food for me.
Shit. I know you said milk, and it made me think of oat milk, which I literally just tried for the first time this past couple weeks.
How was it?
Super late to the party. You guys enjoy it?
No, I don't think I've ever tried it.
I've never really had it. There was a time where I went through like a really big phase of like exclusively drinking almond milk. I can't remember why. I just know I did it.
Probably tasted. Did it taste good? Because I think almond milk tastes decent from what I remember.
Yeah, I like almond milk okay, but what they have the woke foodies know is that it takes way too much water to make, so oat milk is a lot more sustainable.
Oh my god.
Woke foodies.
The ice caps are melting. We are not running out of water anytime soon.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We're about to be in water world, and then
I was just gonna say, Kenny. If they can distill drinking water from their pee and the ocean water, like in water world, then we'll be okay.
Exactly. We're gonna be in water world, and then one person's gonna look at the next person like, I wish my ancestors didn't care so much about the water it took to make something.
Because it's everywhere.
We'll save climate change talk for episode maybe 200.
300. Give it another 2 years.
The continuation of this.
All right. So if you didn't know, this is a weekly video game podcast where we get together and talk about, you guessed it, video games. And I think it's time that we get into what we've been playing. I'll start, if I may be so bold. I rolled credits on Outriders last night. Kenny, what's your current level and current level and world tier?
Current level is 16, world tier 8.
Yeah, you're a badass. So yeah, we were talking in the Discord. I was saying, "Oh man, I'm having so much trouble at level 5," and Kenny's like, "I'm at level 8, and I'm only level 16." I'm like, "You are a liar." But then I posted on the Giant Bomb Facebook group and got some tips about ways to more efficiently play my Trickster class, and went back and did some other side quests. Got up to world tier 6 in about 6.5, and that's where I completed the game. I really was just wanting it to, as much as fun that I had with it, the game is really long. Like it was 35, 40 hours probably that I put into it overall. Doing, I don't know, 60% of the side quests. Pretty easy to tell what you have left. Like there's not a whole lot of exploring in this game. But I think I had a really good time with it overall, even though I was ready for it to be over. Just also, I've got in my mind that Returnal's coming out next week. Can't be playing 2 third-person shooters at the same time.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah, it just didn't feel right. It felt wrong. So after I went back, got some better weapons from doing the hunts. I guess you're doing everything, Kenny. Do you enjoy the hunts?
Yeah, I enjoy the hunts. I've been actually just I don't know, because I'm going at such a slow pace with it. And I did take a little break as I've gone to Atlanta and back. So, I haven't hit that point where I'm like, this game needs to end already. But it's a nice little, bounce between like all the side missions. Like when I arrive in an area, I'll do a side mission. Oh, the historian one, the hunt, whatever's in the area. I look at the map and I'm like, all right, let's bang out all these quests that are here before we decide to try and move on.
And it's very old fashioned the way, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but it's peculiar in the way that the side missions are structured because they're in their own little separate areas.
Yep.
Like there's the beast hunt area, then you hit up on the D-pad, tells you where to go, and then it's like enter the Jack Claw or something area, and it's essentially a really big ass boss arena. Or there'll be a captain where it's maybe a little bit less open because you're fighting all humans, but it's pretty much the same thing. All you do in this game is kill shit.
Just good old kill stuff and just try to survive.
Yeah. And as a trickster, close range character, always having to be up in people's faces. I think towards the end of the game, it gets maybe tougher and tougher just because the damage output from the higher level enemies. I'm just like, oof. Like there were several sections where I knocked it down to 4, or even 3 a couple times, where I was just gotten too frustrated. But maybe that's with other classes, it's easier solo. I don't know, but I think the game as a solo experience was still very enjoyable. I like the story more than I thought I would. Reading some of it's got a really nice lore section, which I think it took from Destiny, in the menus where you can go back and look at characters, learn their, remind yourself of their motivations, learn just a little bit more about the planet Enoch and what happened on Earth to bring the people. I think it's a little cheesy at times, but like it's not taking itself way too seriously. Like there's a few times that it is, but I also think that there's some humor in the side quests. Like there's the great one where you are playing Russian roulette with some guy that's extorting another person for money, and you're able to shoot yourself in the head because you're altered and can just like revive, and you get shot a million times, it's fine. And then did you see this one yet, Kenny? It cracked me up.
No, I haven't gotten to that one. No.
Oh, okay. And then you make him do it, he dies, and then you walk back to the dude and it's like, solve your problem.
But he can't revive? He's not a main character, man?
He's not an altered, he's just a regular dude that was trying to like knew where the bullet was going to be, and I don't know.
But he didn't know that he lives in a world of people that can revive?
They're pretty rare. Rare.
Yeah.
But overall, definitely, if you got Game Pass, jump on it. I would have enjoyed it, I think, so much more if I was playing it on the Series X as opposed to Xbox One, because it it's very framey, especially in the high chaotic areas, which is the majority of the game. Like the game is one of the most intense shooters I've ever played, for sure. Like it is very edge of your seat. You got to sit up straight if you're playing on your highest world tier, and I admire it for that. It's definitely not.
Yeah, and I'm not cruising through it. I don't want people to think that I'm out here in World Tier 8 cruising. I'm not. There's moments that I'm like, shit, like I'm about to die, or I'm frantically like getting chased by this big elite in the area who's just walking and just spraying bullets or fire at me, and I'm like, crap, I'm at like 20 to 100 health left. Where's there a minion? I need to kill a minion so I could with my ability so I can regenerate health. Like what's going on?
The worst is when there's only a boss left and you're kind of playing hide and seek with him, waiting for more little guys to spawn so you can kill them. Doesn't happen a ton, but enough to notice. Where I was like,
you'll sit there and get caught up just kiting this boss around, and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, gotta hide down, hide behind this pillar, wait for my slow time move to be available to use again to regenerate, and pop out, fill them with 120 bullets, then go hide.
Yeah. Sometimes even when I get overrun by people, I just pop my bubble and I just run away. I'm like,
see ya.
I'll let everybody kind of crowd me and pop my bubble and run away. I'm like, you're stuck in my bubble.
Goodbye.
Bubble, which is, if people haven't played the game, it's similar to Destiny's Bubble, probably maybe a little bit bigger, but it's got a great sound effect. The fact that it works so seamlessly, and you can even see the bullets moving in like bullet time.
That's awesome.
It's really, really cool visually. It's like if you're playing as a trickster, I never turned it off because it's infinitely useful. Even though the cooldown's like 38 seconds, which is higher than most of the other skills, it was just
it was worth it, I would say.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We jump back into Final Fantasy 14, or I should say Tyler and Kenny jumped back. I jumped in for a few hours anyway. I probably played about 5 or 6 with Tyler.
Tyler and Anthony.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know
it's okay.
I know your name. Don't worry.
It's okay. It's only been 100 episodes. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it or anything. But it's just fine.
Okay, so yes, Tyler and Anthony, the artistic one, played a bunch of Final Fantasy 14 on a combination of PS5 and PC, right, Tyler?
Yeah, I would say mostly PC. I started off on PlayStation, being like, oh, the free trial. Then we learned that the free trial had a number of limitations. Shit. So it's like, all right, I guess I'll just buy it for a month. I had to like re-up my subscription to my old account that I haven't played since like 2018.
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I started playing, and that allowed us to like party up as you were on the free trial. Anthony ended up creating just a whole new account, which so he got like 30 days free because he paid for it.
So you're playing through A Realm Reborn, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so you still have a couple expansions after that. And there's one coming out in the fall, I believe, too.
Wow, really?
So what do you think, what are the chances of you sticking with this for a while? Or I mean, go ahead.
Man, I don't know.
Well, we were just talking, we were just chatting a little bit before the show, and Tyler and I were like, all right, we had this goal, we read into it a little bit, level 20. Once you hit level 20, you get your mount. You get your first little chocobo, which helps increase your movement speed because you have a little sprint button, which is nice when you're on foot, but it takes fucking forever to go anywhere because the world's so big. But there is fast travel, which is nice. You just have to pay the in-game money gil that you get from quests and shit for it. But we both just kind of went, headstrong, like right into the story quest to get up all the way to level 20. I think by the time I actually ended up getting my mount, I was like level 27 because you have to progress the story quest and you just naturally level up a little faster. But we both hit our mounts. Tyler got it one night, I got it the next night, and we haven't played since.
Right.
Okay, so the mounts you got, are they chocobos, horses, lizards?
Chocobos. Yeah.
Chocobos.
Nice.
But this is definitely the farthest I've been in Final Fantasy 14. Because I remember the first time I played back in late 2017, early 2018. You purchase the game, you get 30 days free. I think it was like 30 days free, or they had like a cap, like a level cap of like level 20 or something like that. Because I'm pretty sure I stopped playing when my character hit level 20, and I was like, oh well, I can't do anything else, and I don't want to pay for the subscription, so I guess I'll stop here. So I've actually, and the story quests like are pretty, they are pretty interesting. I've read like on Reddit and like other Final Fantasy forums that the story for A Realm Reborn is nowhere near as good as some of the other expansions, and a lot of people are considering A Realm Reborn just to be kind of a slug through,
A long ass tutorial.
Yeah, pretty much.
You hit max level.
And it is really long. I mean, between the time that me and Anthony and you started playing it, I mean, put in probably 20 hours, 25 hours to get to the point where we are now.
That's a fair amount, and I'll say my early impressions of it. I have never played an MMO, being only a very recent PC gamer, and that's in a very casual sense. I've only played a handful of games. I missed out on that whole bandwagon. You know, I missed WoW. I missed FF14. All the ones in between.
RuneScape. Classic RuneScape. It's okay. I missed RuneScape too. I had somebody ruin for it growing up.
I was playing it on PS5, which Tyler had, recommended that we give a shot because there's a free trial. There's a new update. I said, sure, I'll give it a shot. Playing it on a controller, there's so much going on the screen. There's such a sort of complicated HUD and interface. Those first couple hours, I was, in the Discord chatting with Tyler, doing my best to hide my frustration because I did not want him to think I was just like. But there was like a couple times where I was just like, where I wanted to say like, Tyler, this is just not working. I'm sorry.
Give it a chance.
I totally get it because even in like my first few hours playing on PS5, it was pretty challenging. It just doesn't work as well as it does on a PC. Like having a mouse to be able to click around the screen makes it a million times better.
Yeah, it does seem like that would be the case. I did sort of get used to it. I did some searching on YouTube, and I watched a video made way back when the game was on PS3. That's still
wow.
In terms of knowing, he was like, when I first started playing Final Fantasy 14, I was finding it difficult finding out where to go, what quest to do, and I thought maybe other people feel that way. It's like, you're right.
You're right.
And so I was able to minimize my screen or my map so it wasn't taking up like 40% of the screen. I was able to center my character on the map, which should be the default. I don't know why it's not. And just a couple other pointers. So I felt like I knew what I was doing for a good 4 hours. And just the whole humness of the tasks I was being told to do, and the simplicity of the combat, which I know will ramp up exponentially once you get farther in. It just was not something that me personally, I think I could put a lot of time into, but I had fun a little bit. Like, I had fun talking to Tyler. The game itself was very pretty. Like, it looks great on the PS5 in 4K. Runs really fast, super quick load times. So if you're and you can get over the hump of the control, I think, in a couple hours. So yeah. Anything else you guys want to say?
I mean, just as we progressed, I mean, I don't think you got to this point, Wiley, but like they start to introduce things like the dungeons, which are sort of like raid type things,
like instances,
where they kind of like teleport you to a place kind of like outside of like the entire like actual world and map. and it's like required to be done in a party. So that like specifically is supposed to be meant for like whoever's the tank character has to like aggro all the enemies and stuff like that, and the DPS people start doing damage and things like that. So it really kind of like, and I mean and it really is kind of just like a tutorial for everything, kind of like getting you to understand like what your character is and what role they play, and so when you are partied up with people, this is what you should be doing and things like that. So I mean, yeah, I'm not sure if I'll go back. Haven't decided yet.
I want to try to continue with it for a bit. I think it's got a lot of good stuff that it's just finally starting to reveal to us now, since we have we're getting our mounts. We're gonna be 30 soon, age wise and level wise.
That's always the tough part in any MMO like that, is when you don't have a mount and the slog of walking from every mission, from every point and things like that.
The quest givers every time, so annoying.
Exactly. But once you got that mount and you're moving like this, then you're like, all right.
That's the big thing I think that Final Fantasy 14 has over WoW too, at least, is just the single player story, like the quests, because those are what pretty much carried me, with a couple optional side quests through the level I'm at now, which is great, because I remember always, every time I would play WoW, it's probably just me being bad at it, but it's like I'd either hit a point where I couldn't find any more quests, or I got to an area where I'm like, okay, where's the next quest? I'm like, where do I go? What do I do? But I'm sure they fixed that all now. It's been a while since I've played.
Yeah, WoW definitely struggled with that. At one point in time, it wasn't too like, hey, this is what you got to do. But now it's so streamlined that like one quest will take you from this area to the next area within your level range, and it'll just keep moving you from level ranges. So you'll go to this area where all the enemies are level 20 or 25, right? And you'll do all the quests there, and then it'll bring you to the next quest area, which will be 25 or 30, and so forth.
Okay.
And it'll also give you, once they start introducing dungeons and things like that.
Yeah. Is that still 20? Do you know? Or is there 15? I forget when they started doing that.
I think 15. 15, and then I think at 20 you get your first mount, things like that.
Okay, because that was the big staples I remember from WoW. Was like going back in the couple times I like off and on was like, okay, new character. 15 is like instance raids, and then 20 is the mount.
And one of the things I loved was when when an MMO introduces like, well, you got a mount. Well, here now you could do flying mounts.
That's amazing. That's what I'm excited for in 14.
Yeah, and I think my big thing with MMOs is just always kind of like for me, I think I constantly need like an objective to work towards. Like for like right now, it was like, oh, I want to get them out, so like I like grinded to like to the point where I could get them out, and like
you're like, what is next?
I know. I'm like, now what do I want?
Flying mount.
Sword.
Yeah, because I like thinking back to like when I played RuneScape years ago. Like I knew enough about the game where it's like, okay, like I know I want like rune armor, or I want like a dragon weapon or something like that. So how do I get it? Like, oh well, I have to the best way to get money is like I have to get my mining and smelting up, and then I can sell all the ore to people, or sell all the bars to people, and that's how I'm going to get money. And then if I get enough money, then I can buy a dragon weapon.
That's awesome. I feel like it's kind of along the same lines in a way, because you have those sub jobs.
Right, but I just don't know enough about like what's available in Final Fantasy 14 to be like, oh, like I want to work towards this or something.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's always sometimes the best thing. I don't know if it has like the apps or anywhere that you could look up. I think that's where WoW is in a higher tier than FF14. Because you got the WoW Armory that you could look in and look up weapons and so forth. And then you have all these different directories just for it, that you could look up, like, all right, and like I want to set up my Warlock class this specific way. I want to focus on my DPS, and it'll help you how to map out your class and what armor you what benefits you the most currently during this season, whether or not you're going to do PvP or PvE. It'll also help you out and let you know, like, depending on the gear you're trying to get. You have so many add-ons you could get that'll tell you, oh, the drop rate for this specific armor you're looking for is 5%, and you get it at this dungeon on heroic. Things like that. So it's. I mean, like I said, I don't know too much about FF14, but that's always what's intrigued me about WoW. And there's even for the people who don't care about the PvE or the PvP and just want to be collectionists, there's so much that you could collect in that game.
Yeah.
From mounts. I remember the first time they introduced the dragon mounts during Mr. Pandaria.
Yeah, the flying mount was big.
I invested so much time. I looked it up. They were like, oh, to get the serpent dragon mount, flying mount, you could do this. Like you had to collect the eggs in a specific area. So I just spent my time going around waiting for the respawn of the egg. Found it. There's a chance that when you even grab it, that you won't even get an egg. So it was a slog. Got through it. Got my green dragon mount, and I was like, yeah, I'm a happy camper.
Nice.
I did get a cool bunny outfit from doing some Easter seasonal event.
Yeah, the stupid bunny outfits. Those are scary.
That is the best thing about any MMO. It's the seasonal stuff. When it's Halloween and you're in the central hub and you got people rolling around with these special cosmetics, because it's Halloween and they could use an item, and for the next hour they got a specific costume on. It doesn't change their equipment, but it changes their cosmetic look. Like, you can't beat that when it comes to these MMOs. It gives you such an immersive feeling when it comes to these holidays or special times of the year.
True. Let me tell you some exciting news, y'all. So I looked up RuneScape, went to their official website. That game is still getting weekly updates, and it looks like there's 127,000 people playing it right now.
It's still RuneScape, but that's one if you want to go back and visit. That game is still going strong. Like, that's got a big community behind it still.
And look, you can click old school in the upper right hand tab.
They got both, baby.
And you can play that, and there's 87,000 people playing that, and it's free to download.
They got ASMR channels for it. I watched an ASMR video the other night where the guy was like, okay, ASMR video for how to run this like crab diamond dungeon. And I was like, this is the best. It was super relaxing.
That's super. I just love the fact that there's live games that have been going for 20 years now.
Do you guys remember Adventure Quest? Did you ever play Adventure Quest?
Nah.
It was like a Flash-based browser game. No. It was like an MMO Flash-based browser game, but it was turn-based.
Coming to mobile this summer. Sorry, I gotta add that.
I thought it was already on mobile.
Well, maybe the old school one's on mobile and the new one's coming.
Oh, new school's coming.
Or what about did anybody ever play Tibia? This is like prior to RuneScape.
It sounds kind of familiar.
What was the first one? What was the first MMO?
Oof. Oh, EverQuest, maybe.
Yeah,
that was like the first big one.
Yeah, something like that.
One of the first big ones. They had a big. I remember there being a big Star Wars one that was like before the Old Republic one, like years and years ago.
Okay.
Before they got shut down.
Looking at the history of MMOs.
Tyler, next goal. Sorry, Kenny, but the next goal we should shoot for is that you could be a Gunbreaker. Kenny, your favorite Gunblade is at level 60. We can shoot for that. That's a class we can be in 14. Level 50 Samurai.
So the first game actually coined by the creator was Ultima Online.
Oh yeah. Ultima.
I've heard of
that.
But
you do get a Gunblade. Kenny. So if you want to hop in, just grind to 60.
Oh, don't tell me that. I remember one time grinding before a camping trip and getting my WoW character up to 60 because I broke Knight and I had heirlooms on.
Jeez, I still can't believe like when we were starting to play, I looked at because my younger sister was really into Final Fantasy 14.
My god!
I was gonna say I remember that.
She's got like 8,500 hours into the game.
That's wild.
Yeah, he told me that when I like let out a genuine holy shit.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you could look at my WoW hours, I'm pretty sure I'm up there.
I'm sure you'd be close to that, Kenny.
Yeah. Like I have multiple characters that are like 70 plus, or were 70 plus prior to like the downsizing of the levels.
60.
And that was without character boosts. That was me grinding them up.
That's awesome. Oh, and even without so 30 more to 20 more levels, level 50, you can start quest to be Dark Knight if you want to do tank.
Ooh.
Mm.
Well,
So
I hope
that pretty much changes your class to one of those things.
It changes it to like you have to be at level 50, so I'm guessing the class starts at level 50 rather than level 1.
Yeah, like the class quest, like those are most likely hero classes. And most of the time the hero classes are like already at a base minimum level. You know, they don't start you from like 0.
Yeah. Like in WoW, if you wanted to be, I remember when what was
The
that one
Death
that
Knight?
came out? Death Knight, yeah, when that was big, that starts you at 50 flat up.
Yeah,
That was cool.
The Death Knight, yeah, it was such a cool class when it dropped. I was like, ooh, what's this?
Yep.
Word.
I agree.
Well, let's move on from Final Fantasy / every other MMO and talk some baseball.
Baseball. All right, I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, I'm about to fall asleep too.
So it's April. Spring training is over. It's real baseball time now. Yankees are gonna win it all.
Yeah, right. They suck this year, don't they?
Yeah, I don't keep up with. Aren't they like the last place or something?
It's too early to tell. But
When sports journalists start talking about like, damn, the Yankees sucks, but thank God we got the Knicks.
And
it's
who's the Boston Celtics fans in here, Tyler?
Yeah.
Suck it. We're ahead of you in the standings. 4th place, baby. 4th place.
you guys are on a streak.
We just lost to the Suns. Chris Paul went nuts last night.
Losers.
It went nuts to the point where he was like, "Fuck is wrong with these guys?" I was like, "Damn, Chris Paul here got some cockiness behind him. Hit 2 big threes and was in our face." And we only lost by 8 points, and they're the second best record in the league. So think about that. We're heading into the playoffs.
I want him to win, dude. Like honestly,
unfortunately, he's not winning with that Suns team.
Yeah, but
they're great they're great season team, but you could tell their young players aren't going to be ready for the playoffs. They're going to have to step up. You got a streaky shooter in Devin Booker, and their big man DeAndre Ayton. He's gonna. I could see him kind of like fizzling and kind of like disappearing in the playoffs, where the intensity gets ramped up. And there's not too many big men that he has to worry about out there. So once the tempo gets scaled up, I don't see him really keeping up and he'll be getting lost. Against like small ball teams, like the Lakers run a lot of small ball, even though they got Anthony Davis and LeBron. So
we shall see. But MLB The Show 21 just came out. It's on Xbox. It's on PS4. It's free on Game Pass. Big embarrassment to Sony. We've been over that. But Kenny's got some time to play it on his Series X. And what are your initial thoughts?
I suck at it. That's my initial thought. No, but seriously, the show is just beautiful. It's amazing. It is such a great game, and it's huge that we get a AAA sports title day one on Game Pass. And I don't think it'll be on Game Pass for too long. So make sure you get in there, play it, check it out, see if you like it. If you like it, make sure to be ready to buy it, because I don't expect it to be there for too long.
It's not on Game Pass PC. I would have tried it.
Tyler, grow up and get a Series S.
Grow up.
Not everything's gonna be on PC. Sucks to suck. But honestly, it's top notch. I've been saying it. You got crossplay right out the gate for a AAA sports title. Crossplay between consoles is huge. 2K and none of the EA sports titles has done it yet. So for MLB The Show just to come out and be like, you know what, we're gonna come out on both consoles and we're gonna do crossplay right out the gate on our first crossplay.
It's like seeing that PlayStation logo when you boot up the game.
Who cares?
Is it actually like the full-on PlayStation Studios with like Ratchet, like the Marvel type thing they have?
Nah, it's just the Sony Interactive name, like
okay.
letters.
So it's not PlayStation Studios things that PS5. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's very flashy. It's got like Ratchet and Aloy and Joel and.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. Because this is developed by Sony, but it's published by MLB. So.
Yes.
None of that extra flashiness here. You know.
What modes have you been playing?
Like I said, I'm always any sports game. I'm a sucker for my collecting players and dynasty mode. So Diamond Dynasty. I haven't bought any of those packs, but I'm keeping true to Ant. You know how it is, Ant.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch it, man.
You gotta catch and collect.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you gotta be careful.
Huh?
My player type of thing.
Yep, it's like my team, my player, the ultimate team that I was playing on Madden for a little bit, just like that, where you have your base team and you start collecting and you do missions, you do objectives, you gain coin. Yeah. And it'll be like things like, oh, you know, get on base twice without being struck out, you know, things like that. Like you can get an out by popping a ball out, but you just can't get struck out. Things like that. Or play a full game and beat this team of like this 79 overall team with your 65 overall team, you know?
Gotcha. Okay.
Things like that. It's like any other of the ultimate teams that you collect players and build your squad around the best players available. You know, take on other people online.
One thing I've heard that sounds really neat that the show does is it has a mode where it recreates some famous moments from baseball history, even recent history. Like they'll have like somebody in real life will throw a perfect game, and then there'll be a challenge to do that with that player or something like that.
Yeah, so they that's the part of the Diamond Dynasty. So on a weekly basis, as things happen in the MLB, let's say a player just went crazy this weekend. At like 4 out of 7 days, he played. You know, his team played 3 times, and he averaged about a home run or 2 a game, right? Then that player, a special card of that player or a special mission for that player is going to be available for you to try to recreate that moment. Like, you know, try to get 2 home runs throughout the game with him, you know, 2-3 home runs. You know, it'll have you do some missions like that, things of that nature, which is always fun to do, you know. And it makes you kind of like watch. It kind of has you watching to see, who's having a breakout game, or who's having a breakout week, so that you're paying attention and you're expecting someone's card to get a big update in the next following Monday or Tuesday, whenever they drop the updates.
Okay. Well, it sounds like fun, and as we always say, if it sounds good and it's on Game Pass, why not give it a try? I would be all over it if I had a Series X, but now that I feel like I spent 35 hours on my Xbox One playing Outriders, I'm like, I got a PS5, I don't play that thing again. So, Returnal, that's coming out on Friday. Really looking forward to that. Seems like the early buzz has been really positive, and it's got a lot going on that, you know, Hades meets Control meets what it kind of
Metroid or something.
Metroid.
Looks good.
That sounds A-okay.
You know what else comes out on Friday?
What?
Pokemon Snap.
New Pokemon Snap. That's right.
Oh, really? Oh, boy.
Invincible episode 8.
Yes, that too.
That's the most important thing. Oh my god.
7 was wild, I tell you. Wild.
Yeah.
Do you watch it, Wiley?
Yeah, I watched it. It was great.
Nice.
You haven't started Wiley, right?
No, I
mean Ant.
Oh.
Invincible.
Yeah, you watched any Invincible?
No, it's that.
It's a television show animated by non-Japanese people. There's probably some Japanese people, but I just meant it's not an anime.
Oh, okay.
So
I have to look into this. Let's see.
It's on Amazon. It's Amazon Prime.
Prime.
Thank God I have Amazon Prime.
Visually, it looks a little bit like
okay.
an animated series or Justice League, I think, in its style. Like
kind of, yeah.
Modern and colorful, but it's very adult in its themes. Its themes in its violence and its
language, everything.
Yeah, but it's
so
just a hell of a lot of fun.
Looks cool. I like the style. I think is really nice.
Intense
so far.
By the end of the first episode, you're hooked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. At the end of the first episode, I was actually kind of like, did I like that? It was a little.
You had to like kind of second guess and be like, wait,
like
watch it again.
To be like a show that is all about shock value, which it's not. All
right, good.
The end of that first episode, I kind of felt like, is that going to really justify? Like, I didn't know if it was justified, but I think it justifies itself as it moves along, and I can't wait to see why he did it.
Yeah.
You guys look it up? Do you know?
Nah,
I
not
don't
at all. I
know.
didn't
I didn't look it up.
I
I'm
haven't,
trying not to spoil it for
either.
myself.
I'll read
hope-
the manga.
I hope that they say, and it's a satisfying and not just a ridiculous reasoning, because you want him to be a semi-sympathetic character, I think. All right, so you know what I'm talking about if you watched it yourself. Hopefully, I didn't spoil it, but I think that's pretty much it. Neocab, I played a little bit of that on the Switch. I picked it up for only $4. It's a visual novel where you play a taxi driver in sort of a dystopian future where everybody is controlled by this big corporation called Capra. There's self-driving cars everywhere. You're like one of the last holdouts keeping your job as a human taxi driver. Sort of a missing person tale. And I'm intrigued by the story so far. I've probably put in an hour and a half. Probably jump back into that and finish it off. But other than that, that brings y'all up to speed with what I've been playing. So this week we all got together in person for the first time. Got
Seriously.
waxed, and well, now Anthony is, but whatever.
Yeah, I got my first shot today.
A lot of fun in this here room. Turned up the sound bar real loud. Kind of made it as much of a movie theater experience as I could, and I kind of felt like it.
Kenny almost killed your roommate.
Oh. Yeah, they got really in a heated debate. Kenny was like, Sub-Zero's the best character. And he's like, you're dumb and stupid. Kenny's like, and he just like strangled the shit out of him. I don't know what. It was really weird. I've never seen Kenny that angry.
Oh, man. In my defense, no one told him to grab a handful like that. I offered him some chips.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyway,
Kenny, you should extrapolate on what actually happened.
And coughing for a couple minutes, but he's okay now.
So what actually happened, Kenny? Like what actually happened? The real story.
So the real story, right? I was like, you know what, Munchie run. Who wants candy? Who wants what? We're running to the gas station. We can't do this movie experience without snacks, right? Run out, and I was there, and I was like, of course. Tyler wanted Sour Kids. Other people wanted Sour Patch Kids and gummy candy, sour candy. Tyler's the only weirdo that likes Sour Kids.
Sour Kid and the Sour Patch Kid.
No, just making fun of Tyler because that's how he asked.
Oh, you want Sour Kids? Yeah,
Sour Patch Kids. He's
like, you want a watch list?
I'll take a Sour Kid.
Yeah, speaking of those stem cells.
So yeah, we went, and me and Dallas were at the gas station. I was like, ooh, ghost pepper chips. I want these. Let's pick it up. So we get it. We head back, and then we get into the game room, starting to get ready for the movie. I'm like, all right, let me crack open the chips real quick. I have a couple things like that. I eat one. I'm like, yeah, this is still as spicy as I thought. Offers Tyler one. Tyler grabs one. Tyler's like, oh yeah, this is spicy. Woo. Right. Look over at your roommate Christian. I'm like, hey, you want a chip? He's like, right. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm like, cool. I reach out with the bag, and then he stuffs his hand in, right? So then I'm holding the bag, right? Because I didn't think I needed to squeeze and hold chips down, right? So I didn't think that many chips were gonna exit the bag. But when I started feeling that the bag exiting the bag is a handful of chips, right? I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, go on. I'm not gonna say anything. Enjoy.
Everybody gangster until Kenny's roommate or until Wiley's roommate eats this ghost pepper chip.
Yep. I was like, I took my bag back, and I was like, I'm gonna offer Wiley some too, because any normal person, how much you want to bet? Wiley grabs maybe 1 or 2. Offer to Wiley 1 or 2, a normal human being. But Wiley's roommate though, he starts going in like the Doritos, and I'm like, even if they were Doritos, you don't take a handful like that. He's like, and then he goes, those are spicy. And I'm like, yeah, a little bit.
He's like,
he's tearing up for sure.
he's breathing pretty heavily. I looked over every now and then. I looked over back at Kenny. I was like, dang.
He's just sweating.
Yeah, he was like, And I'm like, you want another one? Ghost pepper chips. Yeah, oh, that makes sense. And I'm like, yeah, you know, yeah.
Anyway, the movie that we watched.
Oh yeah, that's why we were there.
That was the trailer and opening scene to the movie that happened in the back row.
So, right, we had 2 rows of 3 or whatever it was. But anyway, so Mortal Kombat, we watched it on HBO Max. It's also in theaters. Did pretty okay for pandemic levels, 22 million, I think. Just barely beating out Demon Slayer. But what did y'all think? I think that the discourse online has been all over the place in terms of fan enjoyment and satisfaction.
I think it was just about right for what I was expecting. It's a cheesy action video game movie.
Mm-hmm.
Jax popped some guy's head like a watermelon, and I laughed out loud. I couldn't really. That was like the highlight of the movie for me.
Kenny's the longtime MK fan and the one that's more up on the lore. I am also a big fan of MK11. Went back and played through 9 and 10 recently as well, and have seen the original movie, which we talked about a year ago on the podcast, I think. So I thought the movie was way more enjoyable than the 1995 version, and maybe because of the vast improvements to the fighting, and well, that's the main thing, the fighting. The action is just really on another level than the pretty mediocre. I mean, there's a few neat ones, maybe the one towards the end, but I thought that the action was pretty well paced throughout. You got the great opening scene with Scorpion back in the day. You right off the bat get to see him use his famous throwing spear. You get actually, I don't think you get to get over here until the second time you see him, but it's just neat. It sort of sets the tone for the movie pretty well, I thought. What do you think, Kenny?
So I watched it a second time. So
hell yeah, nice.
I watched it, then I watched it a second time. Upon further inspection on the second time, right? I kind of found myself where I couldn't pick this one or the first movie over each other.
Really?
As a whole. Like, so I could pick certain elements of each movie over each other, right? So the action is better here, but the fights just come like they come and go. There's so many fights, right? And I feel as though there's not fights that really get too many of the fights don't get the epicness or the focus they should. Like, even when everybody's fighting, right? Kung Lao's fighting, spoiler for Kung Lao's fighting Nitara, right? And
is that the girl with the wings?
Yeah. You got Jax. Jax literally fights against Reiko on a classic iconic stage, and we get no focus to that.
No,
right?
It's like what, maybe a minute, not even.
Yeah, like he's fatality, smashes his head.
That's why I laughed.
I was like, what was the point? He could have done this fatality anywhere but here. Like, this classic stage of the bridge where you could see from afar, like, from like they're fighting on it, has such a classic environment fatality they could have used. Like,
yeah,
Jax
I was gonna say, they didn't use the spike.
Yes, he could have uppercut him off the bridge, falling to the spike, right? That was a missed moment right there. I felt like they were just, at that point in time, they wanted to make runtime, right? And they were just speeding along. They're like, no one wants to see Jax. Jax isn't the focus. Let's move it along. Let him smash the dude's head. Keep it pushing, right? He could have done that anywhere. That was a missed moment with that. But still, the action is better here, right? But you can't compete, right? With these fights, have the better action, but the epicness from the first movie's fight between Liu Kang and Sub-Zero, like, you entered that and that was the focus, right? Was Liu Kang and Sub-Zero. Those two fighters, let's see them duke it out. And plus, it was the actual tournament, right? This is pre-tournament. But I think they could have gone to that formula a little bit more, like let people take on each other one-on-one, so instead of us bouncing around multiple fights, right? Especially in the climax. But I do enjoy how we started off. The one of the if the main draw is the tournament, right? The main plot of the games or everything is a tournament and the invasion of Outworld, right? What takes front center from the subplots is always going to be the rivalry between the Lin Kuei and the Shirai Ryu clan. So why not open up the movie with it, which was perfect, I think, because there's nothing that matters more after the tournament and the invasion of Outworld than the rivalry between Sub-Zero and Scorpion.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. And the plot is very sort of surface level as in terms of introducing the different realms. Outworld winning 9 times in a row in this Mortal Kombat tournament, and if they win 10 times in a row, then they're going to invade the Earth realm or whatever, which is sort of like going back to the original games where you got 10 people to fight, and so you're sort of experiencing the entire 10 fights, I guess, right?
Yep.
Something like that. So I think that they have expanded the lore so much in the recent games, like playing through 9, 10, 11 recently. It's like that story is really deep, and there's a lot going on as far as there's not just Outrealm and Earthrealm. There's the Netherrealm, and there's where's the one that there's other ones. There's like a couple more too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I can't remember their names, but so I'm not super into the universe, but I do think it was sort of maybe a little bit too simplistic. Like they didn't want to overcomplicate things, and maybe were a little self-conscious about it being too lore heavy. But I do think that right off the bat, that rivalry that you were talking about was well conveyed, and maybe they want to make more of these movies. I do think as an introduction it was overall successful, and we'll get into more of that in the sequels. But I can understand also, the movie's pretty short, hour 41 minutes. Like they could have spent another 20-25 minutes just making it, throwing in more fan service or more
flesh out the fights too. Flesh out the fights a little bit more. I honestly think they could have taken a good 5 minutes, added another 5 to 10 minutes, and first time they come to the temple and they're talking about the tournaments and they need to win the 10th tournament, when they're alluding to Outworld winning the last 9, they could have shown us the Outworld champion Sub-Zero, who was the head champion for Outworld, right? The show was Sub-Zero winning the last tournament. Who did he kill?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that could have been a nice little header and like set piece, like being like, all right, they won the last 9. Show us Sub-Zero decapitating somebody or chilling their spine and ripping it out.
Right. So is the main character? Sorry to interrupt, but is the big thing? I just want to know that is the main character. Is he just like some new OC, like original character they made up for the movie? Yeah. He's not like okay.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, it threw me off. I was like, I thought he was going to be Liu Kang because I thought that was like going to be the focus. No. And then you see Liu Kang come out in the middle of the movie in the desert. And he's like
Scorpion.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I get it. I get why they did it because it gives to deviate from grounded lore, right? Because you don't want to be stuck just having to follow everybody, because then you're like, damn, every character I have to be careful because I'm gonna get ripped apart by fans because they have such rich lore and backgrounds, right? Well, we could create a new character of sorts, and that person we could fool around with and we could mess around with because they don't have a background or lore like that, So I get it. I get the use of him and centering the things around him and Scorpion's clan, so Shirai Ryu.
Yeah, I mean, it was also new that Scorpion is now somebody that came back from another time, right? I mean, that seemed new as well.
Yeah, him being so far backdated, kind of, yeah, so it kind of makes sense. What didn't make sense is why there's no explanation why Sub-Zero is still alive from that far back, right? Shang Tsung keeping him alive, granting him power to stay immortal or stay ageless, things like that. That's
totally just glossed over.
that's not really explained. Like, you're just supposed to take it at face value and keep pushing. Like, this is the same Sub-Zero that killed, like the whole Shiryu clan and Hasashi's and Hanzo Hasashi, right? So you're like, wait a second. But Hanzo makes sense that he comes back because he's in hell and is still living through and waiting for his revenge. So he comes straight from hell in that moment,
True.
So that one makes more sense on Scorpion's side than it does Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero, you're like, holy crap! Like, is the dude just a vampire because his blood is frozen? Like, what is it? Talk to me.
So everybody's saying that Kano was the highlight of the movie. Not everybody, but a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Kano is in the." You see the meme, like he's in the hospital for carrying the entire movie on his back.
Yeah, he definitely stole the show with the actor's acting. He definitely was like the standout character.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
Yeah, I definitely can agree that the Kano performance was over the top and just pinpoint practically. Yeah, he was definitely a highlight for me. I actually enjoyed Kung Lao though, because Kung Lao has that cocky demeanor, like he's better than everybody. So I
on the show there because Liu Kang is the chosen one.
Exactly. So you're like, okay, I like the Kung Lao. I also like Cabal. The guy who played Cabal, I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, I thought Cabal. The voice at first didn't match for me, but as I got used to it, he was good relief, comic relief / action. I like Sonya pretty well. I mean, definitely a vast improvement over.
I was just glad it wasn't the MMA fighter. What's her name?
Ronda Rousey, right?
Ronda Rousey. I'm just glad it wasn't her.
Why so?
What?
Why?
Because she was the voice actor.
Oh, okay.
The last one, and it's completely horrible voice acting.
Uh-oh.
But still fun character to play. Still was my main for many months.
Yeah, Wiley, as soon as you they're like, oh, you gotta find Sonya Blade. Wiley's like, that's my main character. That's my main. That was honestly, that was the best part about being able to be in like groups of people again and watching stuff, is like just witnessing. I think not even the movie so much, but people's reactions to things in the movie that happened.
Yeah, there was a few times where I got pretty excited, as a fan, seeing them Scorpion or Sub-Zero freeze that blood, and then the dude with it.
That was awesome. Yeah, there you're like, oh, he's doing it.
Yeah, which is like totally straight from Mortal Kombat 11.
Wiley had his PTSD watching Sub-Zero beat people's asses, handing out all the smoke.
Yeah.
That was good. That was a lot of fun. It was a good experience.
For sure.
It definitely was.
I elevated my enjoyment of it. Was being with friends for the first time in a long time, and
for sure
having the snacks and everything. Like if I was watching it by myself, I probably would have been like a lot more critical.
Yeah.
But you watched it for a second time. I'm glad, so you can bring more of a rounded perspective. How was the music compared to the original? And the first one's got the iconic main theme. This one, I don't think quite as memorable, but
not at all.
Throughout, I did think that the music was pretty good. I'm having a little bit of a tough time remembering specifics because it was, I guess, on Friday, and had a few beers. Can't remember everything about it.
But it was like standard kind of movie soundtrack, and it was just a remix, like a remix of Mortal Kombat, like Mortal Kombat at the end that played during the credits.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't. Maybe because it was, I don't know. The '90s one just has such a cheesy, but also gets you hyped up sound.
Yeah, distinct.
And that's the thing, that it's so tough to go back and compare, right? Because there's such an iconic feeling behind that original movie, and like cult classic feel to it, that you're like, damn, it does the new one like unfairly to try and compare them, right? Because as bad as the acting was, as subpar as maybe the action was when you look back on it, like the Shang Tsung from the original, the Raiden from the original, those are, characters that when you could look at the new one, you're like, damn, I missed them, you know? Because that Shang Tsung was so badass in that first one. You know what I mean?
For sure. Shang Tsung, and I not that Shang Tsung was not great in this one. I think it was pretty good in this one as well. And Raiden, sure, he had his thing going on in the first game, but I mean the first movie, but I think it's an improvement personally, even though
there was even one moment where I was missing. I wanted the old Raiden's laugh, like
right, exactly. Is it like because old Raiden has become a meme and is just people appreciate his portrayal for whether it's being ironic or not. It's a silly performance that's memorable, whether or not it's true to the game or not. You know, that's a discussion for another time. Anything else we want to say about the movie before we, like, I guess were you satisfied with it?
Yeah, I definitely was. The fatalities, we knew we were gonna get them, and I say to everybody checking it out, and when they're watching it, they're like, "Oh, why my favorite characters being shown?" Well, think about it. People are getting killed with fatalities, and they're staying dead. So we can't introduce all the great characters right off rip because people are gonna die.
Maybe some will come back because he at the end says, "Death is only a portal."
Well, yes, and that is because we get the allusion to Noob Saibot for one of the characters, especially when he takes the armor off and you got that like pure like dark suit, you know, with no blue to it, and you're like, "Ooh, Noob Saibot." The foreshadowing here.
That's what I thought that guy was, but I was not as into his Mortal Kombat as much.
Well, but it's because Sub-Zero, because there's two Sub-Zeros for the people that don't realize it. There's Bihan, who we get to see here. Bihan is the one that killed, Scorpion's family. He gets killed and comes back as Noob Saibot. His younger brother is the one that then becomes the Sub-Zero everyone knows, which isn't like, oh, I'm here to kill all the Shirai Ryu. Like, he wants to be a good leader for the Lin Kuei and lead them away from just, conflict and everything like that.
Okay.
Thank you for the backup. I had forgotten all the details there myself.
I'll have to go watch an extended lore video on YouTube.
There's so many for each character. You could go into a deep dive and be wasting like a couple hours just watching them.
That sounds good. I got a lot of time to kill with commissions put on the background.
Word. Well, I think overall I was satisfied. I the movie's been hyped up for a long time now. It seemed like it had really positive word of mouth. Was it the perfect video game movie? No. Was it, a 9 out of 10? No. But was it entertaining? Was it not embarrassing? Was it faithful enough to the franchise? It checks all those boxes for me. The violence was, they said it would match the games. It doesn't match the games, but it we at least get to see a hat chop somebody in half vertically. So
yes,
that was tight.
Yes.
That was pretty good. All right, so I think that's gonna do it for the big
100 episodes. We did it.
For the war against the war of cares, 100 episodes.
We made it. Yeah.
It feels like an accomplishment. But like we said, we're gonna take a few weeks off to reevaluate where the show is, where we want it to go.
A creative hiatus.
Yes, structuring things differently. Still join the Discord in the meantime. You can find out how to do that in the description below. And thank you so much for your support. And until next time, stay level.
Bye.
We appreciate it, guys.